When you fish for love, bait with your heart, not your brain. Do the right thing. It will gratify some people and astonish the rest. Keep away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that, but the really great make you feel that you, too, can become great. Truth is stranger than fiction, but it is because fiction is obliged to stick to possibilities, truth isn't. Never argue with stupid people, they will drag you down to their level and then beat you with experience. Forgiveness is the fragrance that the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. Anger is an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured. Human beings can be awful cruel to one another. Right is right, and wrong is wrong, and a body ain't got no business doing wrong when he ain't ignorant and knows better. Hain't we got all the fools in town on our side? And hain't that a big enough majority in any town? What's the use you learning to do right when it's troublesome to do right and ain't no trouble to do wrong, and the wages is just the same? Sometimes you gwine to get hurt, and sometimes you gwine to get sick, but every time you's gwine to get well again. Stars and shadows ain't good to see by. Be respectful to your superiors, if you have any. The difference between the almost right word and the right word is really a large matter. 'Tis the difference between the lightning bug and the lightning. I was seldom able to see an opportunity until it had ceased to be one. The only way to keep your health is to eat what you don't want, drink what you don't like, and do what you'd rather not. He had discovered a great law of human action, without knowing it, namely, that in order to make a man or a boy covet a thing, it is only necessary to make the thing difficult to obtain. The elastic heart of youth cannot be compressed into one constrained shape long at a time. Work consists of whatever a body is obliged to do, and play consists of whatever a body is not obliged to do. Often, the less there is to justify a traditional custom, the harder it is to get rid of it. Man is without any doubt the most interesting fool there is. Also the most eccentric. He hasn't a single written law, in his Bible or out of it, which has any but just one purpose and intention, to limit or defeat the law of God. Many men pray, not many of them like to do it. A few pray long, the others make a short cut. Life was not a valuable gift, but death was. Death was man's best friend. When man could endure life no longer, death came and set him free. What God wills, will happen. Thou canst not hurry it, thou canst not alter it, therefore wait, and be patient. Let us change the tense for convenience. The average man don't like trouble and danger. It is so unsatisfactory to read a noble passage and have no one you love at hand to share the happiness with you. A successful book is not made of what is in it, but of what is left out of it. Always obey your parents when they are present. Familiarity breeds contempt, and children. You ought never to sass old people, unless they sass you first. You should never do anything wicked and lay it on your brother, when it is just as convenient to lay it on some other boy. It is good to obey all the rules when you're young, so you'll have the strength to break them when you're old. Arguments are unsafe with wives, because they examine them, but they do not examine compliments. Marriage, yes, it is the supreme felicity of life. I concede it. And it is also the supreme tragedy of life. The deeper the love, the surer the tragedy. And the more disconsolating when it comes. There are 3 things which I consider excellent advice. First, don't smoke to excess. Second, don't drink to excess. Third, don't marry to excess. Twins amount to a permanent riot, and there ain't any real difference between triplets and an insurrection. There is more real pleasure to be gotten out of a malicious act, where your heart is in it, than out of 30 acts of a nobler sort. Nothing so needs reforming as other people's habits. That desire which is in us all to better other people's condition by having them think as we think. If everybody was satisfied with himself, there would be no heroes. There is probably no pleasure equal to the pleasure of climbing a dangerous Alp, but it is a pleasure which is confined strictly to people who can find pleasure in it. Get a bicycle. You will not regret it. If you live. Whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to reform, or pause and reflect. An honest man in politics shines more there than he would elsewhere. If you wish to inflict a heartless and malignant punishment upon a young person, pledge him to keep a journal a year. An author values a compliment even when it comes from a source of doubtful competency. The fear of death follows from the fear of life. A man who lives fully is prepared to die at any time. There is nothing in the world like persuasive speech to fuddle the mental apparatus. Get your facts first, then you can distort them as you please. 20 years from now you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did do. Kindness is the language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see. A man's character may be learned from the adjectives which he habitually uses in conversation. Better to keep your mouth shut and appear stupid than to open it and remove all doubt. Don't go around saying the world owes you a living. The world owes you nothing. It was here first. The man who does not read has no advantage over the man who cannot read. Whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to pause and reflect. Never put off till tomorrow what may be done day after tomorrow just as well. A light can travel halfway around the world while the truth is putting on its shoes. Keep away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that, but the really great make you feel that you, too, can become great. Good friends, good books, and a sleepy conscience, this is the ideal life. All good things arrive unto them that wait and don't die in the meantime. Prosperity is the best protector of principle. A man cannot be comfortable without his own approval. There is no sadder thing than a young pessimist except an old optimist. The man with a new idea is a crank until the idea succeeds. Nothing so needs reforming as other people's habits.